So we want to go into deep detail about the advanced generator start. So again, what this is meant to do, the ReadyEdge can monitor the state of the battery either via meter bus or directly from a voltage input. It can tell a generator to start based on many different conditions, including low battery voltage, low SOC, on a schedule, or when the loads get high. We'll look at these features in a little bit. And it will tell the generator to turn on. Now, typically this will be a single wire start, although there's ways to do 2-wire or 3-wire starts as well. Reach out to me and I'll send you some schematic diagrams. Since it's not a normal use case, I'm not going to focus on 3-wire start today, but single wire start, say to a deep sea controller on your generator, tells the generator turns on. The generator turns on or it doesn't, right? And so if it doesn't turn on, we get AC detect that will tell us that it didn't turn on. The ReadyEdge will try again. If it's wintertime and it's cold, you know, sometimes it takes a couple tries. It'll wait a determined amount of time and it'll try to start again. And don't forget, we also have this fuel level input that I should have had a line here back to the generator telling us what our fuel level is. So we can get a notification when the fuel is low, alerting us to go out there or telling us that that might be why our generator is not started. So we have nice wraparound functionality on the generator. We tell it to start. We can make sure it started. We can try again if we need to. And then we also have, you know, both status information from the generator controller into the digital inputs, as well as voltage sense information, say for the generator starter battery, know what that voltage is. A very important point. You can control a pre-warm-up heater if you want using a relay output. And you can also monitor the temperature of the engine or the outside conditions. All of those things really bring a full featured, really add a lot of functionality to the generator start controllers that we're used to. And again, it gets all this data available to us online as well. I wanted to talk a bit more about the AC-DC converter. So our charge controllers have very good charging algorithms for solar. And we want to optimize the amount of fuel that we're using. We want to minimize the fuel usage as much as we can. So what we're going to do, instead of getting another battery charger to go from AC to DC, we're just going to use a regular power supply, AC to DC power supply. And we're going to set that power supply just below the bulk or absorption setting that we have set in the charge controller for the battery. And then when the battery gets low, the generator will turn on and it will charge up to that just below the bulk voltage, because we don't want to charge it all the way. We want solar to take back over when it can. So either way, that's going to get you through the night. And then when the sun comes back, the top off charging and the rest of the algorithm will get taken over by the solar charge controller. So I believe this is a better way to do backup and auxiliary charging because it leaves the algorithm to us to top off charge. And it also minimizes complexity and cost of the system. So I think that's a win-win-win scenario. So I'm going to show you this in more detail, but we can show you how to use the Ready Relay or the auxiliary 12-volt output to control your generator to tell it to turn on and what those functions are. We'll show you how some of the feedback works, and then we'll show you in Solar Connect how you can see the status of that as well. And then we also have the shunt, so we can see the current coming from auxiliary charging, and we can monitor some other things like that with the generator. So I'm going to jump back now to live view, and we'll just get into it. So again, we're already unlocked. And we start off in live view here. We can see our basic cards here, but we want to set up the generator control. So I'm going to go into setup. I first want to set my output of the 12 volt for AGS start stop. So I'm going to set it there. It's already set to that. And then later I'll show you how with the ready block you can do the same. So the ready block output or the ready relay output can be also set as your start stop signal for the generator, or you can use the DC output on the ReadyEdge. So after we set that and save it, we're going to come to AGS, and now we have our AGS controls. It tells us right at the top that it's assigned to the 12 volt output. You can click on it if you want to get back to it and change that. And then we have the timing controls. And so it starts with a max retry. So what happens again is on the conditions that we tell the generator to start, it will try to start. If we don't get that feedback from the AC input, then it will wait. It'll wait 5 minutes plus the retry delay because there's another timer involved here that's detailed in the manual. And then it will try again. And then in this case, it will try 3 times, and then it will create a alert or a fault, and it will alert you in Solar Connect or in Live View that the generator was unable to turn on. We also have some controls that we might be used to with other systems, like minimum and maximum runtime. You don't want a generator turning on and off constantly, so you probably should set a minimum runtime. A lot of times, that would be at least 30 minutes. Give it time to warm up. And then we want to set a maximum runtime. We also don't want to run our fuel out. And we also know that the generator should be able to charge up the battery from 50% to, let's say, 90% in, let's say, an hour 45. So we're going to set our maximum runtime to an hour 45. And then the minimum off time also. We want that thing to at least be off for 30 minutes. Or maybe actually we'll do 15. Let's say there's some extenuating circumstance where if the battery, let's say the battery capacity has been extremely diminished due to some extenuating circumstance, we do need that generator to keep turning back on if that battery voltage gets low. Next, we have our generator feedback, which we can choose no feedback, which means it'll just say to turn on, and it just assumes it does turn on. So this is what we're used to with generator control systems from our competitors and from other devices. But now you can use either one of the digital inputs or one of the DC inputs or the AC input itself. Maybe this is a DC generator or a fuel cell. And so then you can just monitor the DC voltage. And if that DC voltage is above a threshold that you set, then that is your feedback telling you that the generator has turned on as you've asked it to. So now we get into the AGS mode. And there's a lot of functions that you can click through here and start to figure out. The manual goes into detail here. It's both simple and complex at the same time. So there's different conditions that we can do. So we're going to start with manual, which just means we tell the generator to start when we push a button. So if I save this, I'll show you what I mean by that. I now can come into commands, and I see AGS, manual generator control, enable. Now I've enabled that control. And now that 12-volt output is turned on. And then disable to turn it off. And then we always have an e-stop signal that I'll show you as well. So what I'm going to do before going into further details there is I'm going to change my generator output to be the ready block. So we have a relay here, and this actually is set to AGS. So we'll call this generator. We'll save that. Save this one too. So, and then in my relay, I have different things that I can set it to. So we're going to do 2 things here. We're going to set the relay 2A to AGS start stop, and we're going to set relay 2B to our light, our indicator light, which is the red green light that I showed you. And we'll just set this for faults and alarms, and we'll set it for connected product faulted in this case. So like when all faults for the sun saver, we'll save that. And now we're going to go back into AGS. We're going to come down, and we're going to get out of the manual mode because we want to set this not just manually, right? So we'll start out with factory defaults, and let's look at what that means. So start charging is what it means, right? It'll start charging or turn on the generator when the battery voltage is less than or equal to 11.9 volts for 5 minutes. All of these are variables that you can change. So in this case, we want to set it at, we want to be a bit more conservative. So we're going to do 12.1 volts. And let's say it's a big battery bank, so we're going to change it to 10 minutes. Or we want that notification online. That's okay. And then we're going to stop charging when the battery is almost full to 13.3 volts. And it will get this data from the battery voltage that you have set on the input. And then we also want to say, in this case, we want it to run all the time. So our routines, we're going to have one routine and just say all day, right? So this is able to start and stop charging anytime, day or night, as long as these conditions are met. But let's say that we're actually in a off-grid camp or a high-end hotel, and the generator is not too far away from the lodge where people might be having dinner. So let's say we want to prohibit operation during certain times. So we're going to come and we're going to enable prohibit operation on a schedule, and we're going to say do not allow to charge between 5 p.m., which is 1700, till 7 p.m. is 1900. Okay, and then we can go ahead and save this. So now every day we've prohibited it. But then also, let's say we want to do a scheduled charging. So I'm going to click on the start charging, and we're going to do another charging algorithm. So we say we want to, let's say we have a lithium battery, or we just want to make sure these batteries get charged up fully at least once a week. So we're going to say on a schedule, every Sunday, we want to turn on the generator from 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. And then we'll turn off the other routine. And you can see that there's up to 4 routines for each of these, right? So for prohibit operation, we can prohibit it every day during this time. And then we can also do another routine for breakfast. And then we can do another routine for lunch. And then we can do another routine at night. Like, don't do it like late at night. But these routines can all be overrun with the emergency charging. So we'll come into the emergency charging. Here it is. And we'll say we do want to do emergency charging on low. Let's say there's some other, the schedule is always, and instead of 11.5 volts, we want to do, in this case, the emergency charging overrides the other settings that we had with the low voltage. So this will say it'll start charging at any time, but it'll prohibit it during the scheduling, and it'll stop it then. So thank you. We've looked at some of the options for advanced generator start control or automated generator start, which is what AGS stands for. And we have looked at some of the different options and possibilities and what the feature set is. And I want to end by quickly going over the digital inputs and the Ready Block features here. So at the main live view page, we have the Ready Blocks. And so here we have that generator that we had set to AG start. So we can see if that generator is on or not. So if I go to, if I go back to the AGS setup quickly, and I just set the generator control to manual and save it. You can come back to commands, and now we can turn on the generator control. And look at that. So now our relay 2A switched on. We see that the generator is on this relay block. And this would come on whether it was due to a voltage condition or a start-stop or a schedule condition. We can see the status there, as well as the status of our shunts and everything else. Our connected products, we can click through to get more information about the Sun Saver, including the details. If we want to change basic settings, charge settings for the Sun Saver, we can go into Setup. We can go into Connected Products, and we can click on the Sun Saver, and here we get our battery voltage settings that we can set and tweak for our specific battery based on its manual and data sheet. I also said I wanted to show you the digital inputs here. So we have alerts, and what does that mean? So let's go into Setup and Inputs. We can label each of these digital inputs, and we can choose when to alert. So we can just alert never, which might be fine for a lot of sensors or things. You just want to know the status. But let's say you want to be alerted when the door is open. In this case, this is the door switch. So the door switch is actually active when it's closed, right? Because it's a switch button that's pushed inwards. And then so when it goes inactive, we want to clear that. We want to create an alert that lets us know that something is happening. And then we can choose to clear that alert when the door is closed, for example. Another example would be a fuel level that's on like a float bob, um, fuel level or a water level. In this case, let's say the water level, we want to alert it when that float bob is active, but we can go ahead and clear that alert if the tank fills back up. You know, we need to know that the water tank is low, but if the system turns on and it fills up as it should, then that's okay. Same thing for fuel level. Fuel level is kind of an alert on active position with an auto clear, because once the tank is filled up, if you got somebody out there, you don't need that alert clogging up your system on Solar Connect as well. So that covers the basic functionality of AGS, as well as a few of the inputs and other things you might use to kind of round out your generator starting system.